Saturday night, and it's another episode of the All Four Back podcast, episode 91. And this week saw the final fixtures of the league season and the crowning of league champions, as well as the final fought between Panthers and Wolves for the Nil Shield. There's a bit to digest, so let's crack on with proceedings. First of all, I am joined by the full team this week as Chester makes his return. So it's a good evening to Chester.
Good evening, Tank. Good evening, all.
A good evening to Hads.
Good evening, all. Good evening, Tank.
And finally, it's a good evening to Shads.
Good evening, everyone. It's nice to have Chester back in the team. He gets at least he gets picked for this team rather than picked for his own STS team.
Oh.
Wow.
Start as you mean to go on.
Yeah, pretty much.
Don't you dare edit that out.
On the show tonight, we have the Week 21 league reviews, the final league table after Week 21. Then we shall be looking at the Neil Potter Shield semi-final lineups that have already been decided. Then we shall look at the top 20 CMA averages and bonus points. And then we shall have Shad's Rider of the Week. And then we've got the all-important British League Riders Championship track draw. And then we shall get straight into the previews, more depth, with the BGP and the SCS at Melbourne for round 7. There's also a round change in the BGP. So our first review of the week was on Sunday night, and it was a tasty meeting between the Storm and Dragons. Dragons was going all out for the full points to stand any chance of winning the league, whilst any points dropped makes them sweating on Spartan's result the following night. Meanwhile, Storm was looking for a final win in the league ahead of the Neil Potter Shield semi-finals. Storm was without TJ, who suddenly had a sick note for his home track, but JC answered the call and rode at number 1, and also Storm had Bognob at number 6 getting in place of the absent Method. Meanwhile, Dragons was at full strength. The Dragons won the meeting 50-46, but didn't manage to get maximum points they required, so was very much sweating on their fate. Chester, you've had an in-depth look into the meeting. What was your thoughts on the meeting?
Well, the full strength Dragons team literally did what they had to do. It was a very tough meeting. Credit to the Storm. They kept it close for the majority of the meeting. In fact, all of the meetings, to tell the truth. In fact, the from heat 8 to heat 16 was all 3 threes. Only a couple of advantages for the Dragons sort of swung it in their favour. Noticeable performances for both teams. I would say for the Storm, Racer Ryan, after a slow start, went unbeaten to top score. But I think he just lacked support from the other guys. I think a couple more points here and there from other people would have made it a little bit more closer. And for Dragons, I would say 101. You know, having number 1 there, scoring 11 plus 2, backed up by Wolfie and Squall, both scoring 9. Squall in particular 9 plus 4 bonus points. Got to give a shout out to Wolfie as well, getting his first heat win of the season. He's been waiting all season for his first heat win, and he finally gets one. So a big pat on the back to him. Of course, we'll say the Dragons were missing. They had Rico as a league guest at number 6. I just noticed that, and he scored 9 points. Very impressive. But again, a valiant effort from the Storm. They kept it close, which is what the Spartans needed them to do. But still, the loss came their way, and the Dragons were then forced to wait for their fate on 24 hours later. But a great win for the Dragons. They've been a stalwart team this year, led by Squall, and obviously picking that Hastings track. Not the most popular of choices by the other members of the league, but he's made it work. And yeah, looks like a great win for the Dragons over the Storm.
And there was a couple of talking points as I was the referee for this meeting. There was contention over Heat 13, whether it should have been rerun or not. I can see why some would say it shouldn't be. I kind of was in a bit of, 50-50, but reading the rule, there was contact on the first bend that contributed to the rider going in. So that was how I read it and went with it. When it's 50-50, I'm just going to make a decision, and I went with consistency, like I did in the other 2 heats that were rerun that night. That was the reasons for it. Obviously, as it turned out, over the course of the meeting, I don't think it had an effect overall. But I know there was a few that weren't happy with it. Still, I did say I didn't think Storm would laying down and just letting Dragons go for the full points, and they didn't. And it was a very entertaining meeting. I know, Shads, you don't want to speak about the meeting, that's fine, but I feel you was unlucky because you tried everything. JC, a good guest. Yeah, and I also forgot that Rico was in riding as a guest for the Dragons, which that helped him out, and obviously pairing with his son Cam, a bit advantageous as well for Dragons. So we now move on to the second meeting of the week, which was the Panthers versus the Spartans, and that was on Monday evening. This one was also very important because the Panthers needed all points to confirm their spot in the Neil Potter Shield, while Spartans needed to get minimum of a draw to clinch the title. And in truth, it was one-way traffic. Spartans was never in danger of losing, although Panthers kept it as close as they could, but a poor performance from a few Panthers riders on the night that meant Spartans got what they needed and was crowned the season 21 champions. Panthers meanwhile needed to hold on to hopes Bulls would slip up. Chad, you've looked at this meeting. Give us your thoughts and insights.
My big talking point of the evening were the bike choices. Me and Wolfie were talking about it during the commentary. Panthers mostly on purple bikes, apart from Dan, who was on the light blue. I'm pretty sure at the start of the season, a lot of them were using the white bikes. I think Dan switched to purple and then he went to white. Capesy was on white all night. I mean, previous home meets, like I said, they were on a mix of bikes. So it showed that even at this late stage of the season, that some of them were still unsure what bike to use on their home track, which I find pretty weird. I mean, Spartans all use the white bike, as most visiting teams have done this season. A few notable heats. I think Heat 6 was really good to watch. Capes was all over Le Sorcier for the first 2 laps, but great blocking by Le Sorcier. Capes just fell back a little towards the end. Heat 10 was brilliant team riding from Marecki, protected TT for the entire race. I think Ads was in that race. It was a wonderful exhibition of team riding, really good to see. Heat 11 was Stefan clipping the grass on the first bend of lap 2, finishing last. That's only second last place in the league this season. Very, very strange to see Stefan at the back of any race. Interesting to see the dive into bend 1 only being used by very few of the riders and without much success, to be honest. I mean, I counted 8 attempts with that dive inside, with only 2 resulting in a pass. Notably Ads in Heat 8, who used it on bend 1 on lap 4 when he was in last place. And on the last bend of that lap, he went inside on bend 4 to snatch second place. Well, that was a fantastic ride from Ads. Really good to see that. Marecki looked back to his best for the Panthers after a poor meeting at Wolves last time out. And Cappy rode well too. Panthers have really had to rely on those 2 guys this season for the majority of their points. And apart from Marecki and Cappy, it was quite poor from the rest of the team, really, with just 11 of the Panthers' 38 points coming from their rides. But what can you say about the Spartans? Romped the league title with another impressive win, with everyone contributing, as has been the case all season. Special mention to Le Sorcier, who top scored for the Spartans and was unbeaten by an opponent in 5 of his 6 rides. He was my ride of the meeting.
That's obviously you was in this meeting. You were obviously crowned the season 21 champions. How did that feel?
Yeah, the first one is always the best one, obviously. And I'm still quite surprised the score let me do a victory lap after the 5-1 in Heat 12. But yeah, as Shad's mentioned, the whole team again chipping in with the points and no really risk taking as well, sitting there in for the points when needed to, and nothing unnecessary, and it got the job done really. The white bike definitely, I think, helped us. I think he's that a little bit stronger than the purple one as well. Even though in the race I was against Chester actually, when he led, coming out of bends 3 and 4, I don't know, that purple bike was just like, I don't know, it was just something, they found something that we didn't, kind of thing. But into the next bend, I went slightly offline, and lucky for us, we got past and got the points. But obviously, nice to get that first league title. For myself, I believe it was DL's first as well, and Birchie. So for all three of us to be in that team as well and get it. And obviously the rest of the guys all getting paid for double figures as well is, I think, quite some achievement for a 20-point victory, to be fair.
We tried to obviously give it our all, but it was always going to be a tall ask to beat us comfortably the first time. We put up more of a fight this time, but there was no way we were going to stop the run, I don't think. Like you said, Shads, we struggled with the home track in the end, I think. We thought it'd be a bit of home advantage and it might work out, but it didn't turn out to be that way. I think that's an honest assessment. I think a few of us are be glad to see the back of it. The Spartans win the meeting and also become the champions, and that meant that the Dragons finished second and as runners up. Also in this meeting, we had the silver helmet, which was contested between Mareki and the holder Stefan, and it was a very highly contested 3 races between them. In the end, Stefan came out on top 2-1. He now keeps the silver helmet hostage for another off-season. We'll see what happens in season 22. Finally, on Thursday night, we had Cowboys taking on Wolves in the final meeting of the season, and this one, just like the other two, was just as important. Cowboys was going for a morale-boosted win at home for the first time this season, and to upset the Wolves and give Panthers a chance at getting the final Neil Potter Shield spot, whereas Wolves was going all out to hit 40 points to score their spot, and with the recent signing of Sizzler going back to the Wolves again meant they was in a strong position to do so. Cowboys was without Bobby, who drafted in Sudden Rotten to get at number 1, and they was also without second in Cowboys averages Speedy, opting to use rider replacement for him. The meeting was very tight, highly contested, one throughout, and Wolves secured the points they needed to get to the Neil Potter Shield before the end of the meeting, whilst Cowboys, after losing the lead of meeting in 6, regained it in a late surge in Heat 15 with 1 race to go and managed to see it through for a hard-fought win by a standard 2-point margin, 49-47. As you was watching this meeting closely on the night, I assume, what did you take away from it?
Yeah, I think firstly, well done to the Cowboys. I mean, it's been a tough all season for them, but to get that win in the last meeting, so every team has at least won a fixture is good to see. Surprised at the inclusion there of Sudden Rotten as well, guest for Bobby in at number 1, as you said. But a 2-point home win is, I think that's a very good result, especially the Wolves with their rejig lineup. Sizzler's back in at number 3. I mean, Limo and Unknown is, a partnership that, I don't think there's going to be many getting success against those two as well. But some good partnerships there for Wolves. So, I think that makes it that little bit more impressive for the Cowboys. Craig and Fecky definitely having their best meetings of the season, I think, for the Cowboys as well. Definitely helped with that. And the rider replacement, obviously for Speedy, was the second in the averages, so they could all take a ride. They actually scored 9 points from those rider replacement rides, so that was well worked out there by Rico. With that 5-1, with Craig coming in with Sudden Rotten in heat number 14, tying the scores, and then Craig coming back out in the very next heat and getting the win for the 4-2 to seal the victory. So that was a bit like the Craig of old. But I think it was Dan who alluded to before we started tonight. Craig actually got an hour's practicing, I think it was, before the meeting. So it just goes to show, that little bit extra. Sometimes it does help, obviously, and good to see from the Cowboys. As I said there, Sizzler returning. He had a heat win in his second ride, which was a good ride to hold off Fakey and Ben Thompson. He'll be pleased with that one, but probably hoped he'd have scored a bit more. But it's good to see him again back within the game, and I think that's going to be, if Wolves have that side for the Neil Potter Shield, that is going to be they're going to be a lot tougher to beat, definitely. But well done to the Cowboys on the victory, and obviously the Wolves taking the point from the meeting as well, which was enough for them to get into 4th spot. So a bit of success for both teams in this one, and good to see some good all-round racing.
One of the beats I can remember very well from the Discord stream that ended up being in last night was Heat 15. It was Craig's move
Yeah.
on the last bend. I've watched it and I've watched it again. I don't think I've ever seen Craig do a move like that before. Not in recent memory.
Yeah, not
So,
for a while.
yeah, it's been some time, but I mean, yeah, it gave a bit of excitement watching it.
Yeah, and especially on someone like Limo as well.
Yes.
There was no slouch.
No. That win for the Cowboys ensures that they got more points on the board to finish the league season, and we shall have a look at the league table. And this is how it finishes. In sixth place was the Milton Keynes Cowboys on 3 points. That win. In fifth place, just missing out by a point in the nil to get into the Neil Potter Shield, was the Ellesmere Port Panthers on 9. In fourth place was the Wolverhampton Wolves on 10 points. In third place, you had the Kings Lynn Storm on 17 points. Second place was Hastings Dragons on 28 points. And topping the table as league champions for season 21 is the Peterborough Spartans. With that all wrapped up, we then knew that the 4 teams that would have taken part in the Neil Potter Shield was the Spartans, Dragons, Storm, and Wolves. And as revealed on last week's podcast, we knew that Spartans would have the choice of Dragons, Storm, and Wolves, and who they would go for. It was then decided straight after the meeting on Thursday night that they would choose to face off against the Kings Lynn Storm, and then they opted to go home in the first leg as the next highest team in the league was the Dragons, and they had the choice of home and away against the Wolves. Dragons decided to pick going home first. So as you can see on week 23, the week commencing Sunday the 1st of February, semi-final 1, the first leg is the Spartans against Storm and the Dragons against the Wolves. And then in week 25, the week commencing the 15th of February, the second leg of the semi-finals will be Storm versus Spartans, Wolves versus Dragons. And then obviously the 2 semi-final winners then meet in the grand final with the highest placed league obviously getting to choose if they race at home or away in the grand final. I'll get your thoughts, lads. I'll come to you first, Chads. Is that what you expected? And in terms
Yeah,
of your face?
yeah. I called it. I called it. I called it as soon as it was. We realised that Spartans are going to win the league. I said they're going to pick us. I thought they didn't fancy. I thought they could have probably beat Wolves, but I think the easier. They've already beaten us 4 times, twice home, twice away this season. So sensible choice. I'd have done the same thing, to be honest with you. Team that's in a little bit of disarray against a team that sort of got stronger towards the end of the season. So it makes sense.
Yeah. Hads and that, did you see it going that way as well?
Yeah, I think Shads has got that spot on, to be fair. I think especially with the changes for Wolves recently, that I think it makes more sense. The Storm haven't won in the last few meetings, and the Wolves have been picked up a few points. So yeah, I think 100% behind that decision. I'm not surprised that the team, DL and Ads, they chose to, and especially to race home first, which hopefully gives us a good advantage into the second leg.
Yeah. I was expecting, obviously, Stealth and Dragons to go at home first, especially Dragons, because they're banking on a big, obviously, home advantage to take to Wolverhampton second leg there. But I think between the Spartans and Storm, I think it's going to be a tighter affair. Chester, what do you think of them fixtures for the Neil Potter Shield?
As expected, I thought they were going to do that. Spartans, as had said, with the strength of the Wolves now, I think avoiding them would be their best port of call. But I say if Storm can click, I think they can make it a decent couple of legs. But it's all down to who can beat Spartans this year. They've been pretty much the dominant force. But yeah, it'd be good to see the Neil Potter Shield. The top 4 in the league going at it head to head. And yeah, could we see another Dragons Spartans final? Well, I mean, if top two in the league get through, who knows? But I mean, the choice they made it was self-explanatory, I guess.
So we shall find out who will be progressing in a couple of weeks' time. Now we have a look at the top 20 stats and averages. Has you wanted to have a look at these, I believe?
Yeah, just wanted to obviously something we don't normally look at. Obviously now it's the end of the season. Obviously on the left hand side you've got it without the bonus points. On the right is with the bonus points. As you can see there, number one, no surprise, only man over 10. 10.79, Stefan. I mean, yeah, say no more. Be interesting if what Limo would be averaging if he rode at home as well. I think they're in second place for the Wolves. But you look down, I mean, Ads and DL Shaw again for Spartans in third and fifth. But Mareki up there, especially for a team who's finished fifth, averaging 8.94 is pretty good going, to be fair. Racer Ryan there, just nipping TJ to the top of the Storm averages as well with 8.81. And Squall actually goes into the Neil Potter Shield as the number one for his team at 8.63, and with 101 and Cam not far behind at all on 8.44 and 8.41. So yeah, I think it's going to make for some interesting reading. The averages for the Neil Potter Shield, especially, so be done on rolling averages. I think it was 10 riders. You said earlier, Tank, who actually only rode in every single match of this season. So yeah, that's pretty good going for those guys, and it's going to be key to see maybe who can use what averages for guests as well if needed in these extra few matches at the end. I think Badger was actually on that 6.81. I think he was bottom of the Dragons averages on that, and he's in 20th place, I think. When you compare that to the Panthers, and you got Cappy on 7.15 and he was second in their averages, I think that tells the whole.
There's only 2 points between seventh and first, though, in that Hastings team, which I
Yeah,
don't think I've ever heard of before. The top rider
yeah,
and the bottom rider only having 2 points between them.
yeah, that's crazy. And shout out for Wolfie for winning a race at the end of the season as well, by the way.
I let him win it. I slowed down on the line just to let him win it. I felt sorry for him.
Yeah. Obviously, Wolfie got how many? I forgot how many it was. Nearly 22nd places, was he? He won his first race of the league season actually in the last meeting, and still averaged well over 7 as well. So fair play to him. But bonus points, yeah, somehow finished top of the bonus points, which I didn't know until Ads told me after the meeting. I think if Badger the road in the last meeting for the Dragons, he'd probably took that honour. But interesting there, you have the Hastings guys again, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 7th, and 10th. So yeah, 5 of those in the top 10 for the Dragons, just proving how much that home track does help. But yeah, bonus points does put the averages up a little bit, which we'll see for next season. But some interesting ones in that. I'm surprised, to be honest, that Racer Ryan isn't higher up that with his team. The way he team rides the other day was just something. I don't know how he does it, to be honest. He near enough stops to protect his partner a lot of the time. And Shad, you're in there as well, 8th place with 12 bonus points from your 10 meetings.
Yeah, just not enough wins this season, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The season started off the season. I don't think I've won a race since mid-season.
41 wins from 56. For Stefan. Wow.
And look at that win percentage as well.
73.2%,
Mad, isn't it?
followed by Adson 54.7. It's just
crazy,
yeah,
crazy, absolutely crazy. 70, almost 3/4 of his races won, and that's
Yeah.
not including. That's just wins, not second places, like in 5-1s.
yeah,
Mad, isn't it?
definitely. But I think we have to. He's on the bottom of both those lists there, as we can just see. Reese, I mean, for a first full season, back for he'd only rid previously 3 matches, I think it was, for Phoenix
Yeah.
back. For him to have 12 heat wins from 45 races and get an average of 7.20. I mean, that takes some doing. So total hats off to him. Let's hope we can get a few more guys back in.
But he has been held by being at reserve all season,
Yeah,
even on a 7-point average, because the Dragons have been so consistent all through the team. He never got to ride anywhere but number 6 all season, which helps.
does help. Yeah, definitely.
But then he's second in the SCS, so he's no mug. It can't be all because of that.
Yeah,
He's obviously got something about him.
100%. And it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully, he does come back next season and see what happens, because a lot of these riders for the top 2-3 teams won't be able to ride together if they're grouped in obviously the way it was done before. So it all makes up for an interesting off season, and the rumours start to, who's going to ride with who, and we'll have to wait and see.
It's that time again. We now find out who Shaz's Rider of the Week is. So without any further ado, I shall hand over to Shaz to reveal who has got it this week.
I'd like to mention 3 riders this week, one from each of the meetings. Firstly, Racer Ryan, with 18+1 from his 7 rides for Storm at home to Dragons. Some may think he's not had the best of seasons, but he's put almost a point on his season 20 average, which is great going, seeing as we've sort of struggled the second part of the season. Secondly, Le Sorcier, 13+2 from 6 for Spartans at Ellesmere Port. And like I said earlier, he was unbeaten in 5 of his 6 rides, unbeaten by an opponent anyway. And lastly, I'd like to mention Craig, who's had one of his most disappointing seasons, I think, since I came back. Back to his best though, with 16+1 from his 7 ride, when he realised he didn't have to lower his average anymore. It's a tough one, but I'm going to give my Ride of the Week award to Le Sorcier.
Now, with it being 2 weeks away from the BLRC, we now find out the track that will be used for that meeting. Tracks included will be the same as the other competitions that we've had this season, but excluding the ones that have obviously been selected. So let's get straight into it. The tracks that are in contention are Berwick, Halifax, Hull, Newport, Sunderland, Ipswich, and Lakeside. As you can see, there's 4 tracks that were full retail tracks with existing and second line added, where full line tracks with fresh lines, there's only 3. So,
Lovely tracks.
oh yes, so here we go. The BLRC track for season 21 will be a trip to the Humberside to Hull.
Look how close that was. Oh,
It was nearly Newport, but we're saying on Humberside. And
yeah,
there is your track for you.
Jeez.
So,
Good luck.
Any worse?
Well, looking at the start line, it seems to be a bit close to the first corner. It's a bit more of a longer run up from the fourth corner.
Yeah, good shout.
So you got I think this was made by Mr. Van Helsing by the looks of it, one of our riders from back in the day by the looks of it.
What is the brown bit on Ben 3 and 4 about on the grass?
That
I
would
think
have
that's all
been the
tractors, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they were allowed on the centre green, they parked up on one of the bends.
Ah,
That'd be where
Crazy to
that comes from.
think that.
I like the floodlight shadow on Ben 4.
I've actually been to
Yeah.
that track once in 2005. It's the only meeting I've been to where I actually got shot at.
You got what?
Someone took a shot at me with an air rifle.
Wow.
I was at the petrol station filling up on the way home near the Humber Bridge, and a car pulled up, and I saw a gun poke out the out of the window, and he put a shot at me. I thought, well, I'm getting
Deep.
out of here.
It's
I
past
ain't
the
getting.
watershed. You'll be fine.
Oh, I've been the whole twice. I went to look at one of the houses that I was going to buy when I worked with my brother. We renting a house, and I went to look at it. It's for sale in an auction, and it had burnt down the night before. Someone had set
God.
fire to it, so we decided not to buy any property in Hull.
Not surprised. Oh dear.
Now that's the track for the BLRC in 2 weeks' time. Shall see what kind of racing we'll get from that one. I can't. It's probably over 10 years since it was last used, so yeah, we'll see how it fares this time round. So now we
Right.
go straight into the BGP and the SCS previews, and with that, Chester, you can take it away.
Yes, we're here for the final round of the BGP and SCS taking place in Melbourne, the land down under in Australia. And a lot of title implications are taking place, especially in the BGP. We have one change in the BSS Sliders Grand Prix Series. Badger Racing is being replaced by Unknown. So Unknown comes in as a replacement for Badger Racing. Of course, last week we did the draws for this meeting, and straight away I had to look at Heat 4. Craig, Stefan, Marecki, and Racer Ryan going head to head. The top two, Stefan and Marecki, separate by just 4 points going into this final round. So already with those two in the very first round of races together, it's who's got the mindset, who's got that, the jump on their opposition. But of course, we're looking at Stefan and Marecki. You got it, Craig. Craig is in a bit of form now. We saw his 16-point score at Milton Keynes on a couple of days ago, actually on Thursday, and we all know how good Racer Ryan is. So that Heat 4 is definitely the pick of the bunch. And so it's all down to what happens because, of course, points all add up correspondingly to the to the final scores, and of course, only 4 points in it going into this final round. As we take a quick look at the league table going into this meeting, as you see there, Stefan and Marecki 4 points in it, with Cam a distant third, but still a battle between him and Speedy for that third spot. Those four are pretty much clear of everybody else. It would need a miracle from the likes of Fakey and Cappy to make any sort of indentation of that top four. That top four seems to be set for the finishing order, but it all depends on which way it's going to go. Cam Marecki, who's been the star of the Panthers this season, can he dethrone the master, Stefan, who's been on top pretty much the entire season? And who knows what can happen. It's a track we haven't really used. Two very different curvings on the track at Melbourne. And yeah, we will soon see what happens with that. I'm going to bring in Tank if I can. Tank, you're down in 17th position. You've missed one round this season. A disappointing season for yourself individually. But how are you looking to go into this final round with a bit of momentum going on to you?
Yeah, it's been disappointing. I mean, it's no secret that I pretty much turn up to these meetings and just race and do no training. If I do, it's about 10 minutes at max. Works for Craig, doesn't work for me. But I generally don't do well in the GPs, but I'll always give him 110% and always turn up. Going into Melbourne, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I quite like the track. I know the line. It just depends whether I can put the points on now. That's all that's left to do now, really. I'd like to think I could get 9 points and get into a semi, I'd be happy with that. But if I don't, I don't. But yeah, no, it's more about the taking part, and obviously the one round I missed was when I was away, so I don't think that round would have made any difference to what was happening for the rest of the series, really. But disappointed with my round 5. But other than that, you know, it's the season has been what it has been in Grand Prix for me, really. And if I end up there again next season or on the SCS, who knows? I'll take it from there.
Well, just one more thing. Looking at the league table, there it's between 8th and 9th, between Stephen 101 and TJ Griffiths. Only 2 points separate them going into this final round. So whoever finishes above those two will go into next season's BGP for season 22. Of course, the notes at the top there. The top 8 from the BGP series want to qualify for season 22. The top 3 in season 21 SCS series go into this round. The highest average league rider from season 21 is a non-BGP rider. Season 21 world champion not already qualified for season 22 series. And the top 3 from the season 22 GP challenge, or top 4 if world champion is already in the series. But of course, you got to look at that top 2. Top 1st and 2nd and 7th and 8th are the ones you got to look out for on Sunday. So we switch gears now to the SCS, and this one has a lot more riding on it, especially for 2 all 4 back members, as they are on the cusp of potentially one of them getting to the BGP and the other missing out. The wildcard for this meeting is Captain Audi, and we're looking at the program right now. And I want to bring you first of all in Hadlington, if I can, my good sir. Your thoughts on an SCS series, and which heat stands up for you the most?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this round actually. Done a few laps with the master, aka Stefan. So I followed him for a few laps, and I seem to have done all right. So
and I followed you.
Yeah, and Chad was following me. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. Track's not bad at all, to be fair. So just that first race of their Heat 4, the top 2, Rico and Reese, alongside JC. I mean, that's a tough opening ride, to be fair. And if we can get anything from there, will be definitely needed, I think, come towards the semi-finals, which I'm hoping to make after missing out on the last round. But I think the underdog here, who we're not really looking at, is the guy currently in 3rd, who Shad's gave rider to the week, and that was Le Sorcier. I think he's just absolutely cracking form at the minute, and if anybody can make them GPs, I think he's going to be the one. He seems to have defended his position throughout the whole series. But also, I've got to give massive credit to Reese. He never rode in a series before, and to be 2nd place going into the last round is unheard of, really. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens and who gets those spots in the GP, obviously alongside Rico, who's near enough wrapped it up. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting come Sunday.
It will indeed. And of course, Shad, you're in this meeting as well, my good sir. And it's a very interesting table that we have. But your thoughts on this meeting, Shads? And who do you think the heats to the cup for?
Well, Rico looks nailed on for the title, so forget about him for now. 5 riders battling for the last couple of automatic GP spots. I don't want to talk about those. I want to talk about the riders that should have been in contention, and that's Bobby and JC. I mean, Bobby, if he had not missed the meetings he has, he could have been in contention for the title had he not missed those meetings. But he definitely would have had a top 3 place. I mean, you see me, he won the last round, and everyone knows how good Bobby can be, especially in these individuals. And JC missing round 2, he'd have been a cert, I think, for top 3, which is quite lucky for Reese and the Saucier. They'd have lot harder time qualifying. But it's all to play for. It's just who wants it more. I'm pretty sure Reese will want to be in the GP next year. Not having been in one before. I'm pretty indifferent, to be honest. I mean, I wouldn't go out on the track and purposely lose, although sometimes it looks like it. I think this track, it's all going to, for me, it's going to be a lot about gating, and that probably rules me out.
Well, I say, just looking at the table there, Rico out in front. I think he needs like a point from his first ride to be guaranteed the title, and it's all down to second and third, with Reese and Lasorcia only separated by a couple of points. But again, Shads, you're level on 64 points apiece. And you guys can spring a surprise. And I got to say also, you mentioned Bobby with those 3 DNRs in the first 3, but then scoring 218 points. I think he won 2 out of 3s that he started in, I think, if I'm correct in saying.
Yeah.
He's, as you said, if he didn't miss those first 3, he'd have been potentially in contention to be part of the BGP next season. But it's all down to who can keep their bottle, especially between those 4th and 5th. And again, looking down, 11th and 12th, Heppel and Capesy separate by 2 points. Either of those two could spring into the top 11. Even Westy Boy, who's only a point behind Capesy, he too can also spring a surprise. All depends who's available. That's the only thing.
Even Mr. McNally.
Indeed, yes, McNally certainly surprised. He's been surprising this year. 2 9-point scores from rounds 1 and round 6 respectively. So he's not disheartened himself. He's done pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess that's reason for the Spartans for you. That's what it does it.
Yeah, but it's interesting how the top 5 have not missed a round.
Yes, that's consistency you need. That is the consistency.
I would also
point
out Bewitcher isn't a full-time SES rider either, and he's in the spots to qualify for next season.
Yes.
So would he qualify if he finished in the top 11?
Yeah, if he finishes in 4th to 11th, he will qualify. Yeah.
Yeah, same as ads in the GP.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no, he's a full-time rider now, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he is now. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, no. If Bewitcher finishes 11th or higher between 4th and 11th, then that he will be in the SES next season, even though he scored in 3 rounds, did it in the round 4, and then missed the last 2 rounds.
It is going to be a very interesting round of the SES taking place at Melbourne on Sunday. We'll have all the action and reaction on next week's podcast. Tank, it's back over to you, mate.
Thank you very much. And that is pretty much nearly the end of the show now. We do have our social medias. Would you like to take us through them again, Chester?
Of course it will, as always, Tank. If you like what you hear, like what you see of all things STS, you have our website, forum, Discord, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter that gets updated regularly. And I'm sure one of our lovely members will point in the right direction to where you need to be, and hope to see you in season 22.
Here was a look at next week's show. We have the BGP Round 7 at Melbourne review and the final leaderboard to see who was crowned the BGP champion after Stefan and Mareki, and who got the final spot at number 8. And then we shall have the SES, likewise the review and the final table to see who got the top 3 spots and the final spot in the 11. And then we should have Shad's Ride of the Week, even though we've only got the final rounds of the BGP and the SCS. And then we shall also be looking into more depth at the previews of the Neil Potter Shield semi-final first legs, when the dates will be known of when they shall be riding the following week. All that is left for me to say is a good night to Chester.
A very good night to you, Tank, and good night to everybody, and see you next week.
Ads, it's a good night to you as well.
Good night all, championes.
And it's a good night to Shads.
Gladiators are ready!
Good night.
And it's a good night from myself, Stephen. Thank you for listening and watching for another week. This was episode 91, and we shall see you for episode 92 next week. Until then, good night.